Hello friends, welcome back to another MapleStory video, and this one's going to be focused on New Age training locations, specifically if you're not doing events or anything, because there are a lot of really good growth events going on right now, but this is going to be if you just want to kick it back old school and grind some shit from 0 to 200 or whatever. Yeah, we're going to go up to 200. Honestly, for the beginning levels, not much has changed. That being said, you make your character, you spawn in the game, you're level 10. Savage Terminal is still where I would suggest. With the changes to the reboot mob health being normalized as the same as regular servers, I typically immediately start at Shaded Dump Site now. The mobs are level 35, you'll be level 10. Can be kind of hard for the first few levels, so if you're not super juiced with Legion and Lynx, you can still go to Waste Treatment Plant 1 for a few levels, and then you can hop over to Shaded Dump Site. But the benefit of Shaded Dump Site is, 1, the mobs are higher level, 2, runes can spawn in this map, which is the main reason why we like this map. Typically, with the new changes to the scaling of health on the monsters, it's much like regular servers in that it is exactly like regular servers, so instead of the 10 level rule that I used to use before, I've now upgraded it to like a 20 level rule. So I try to find monsters about 20 levels away from me and I go there. Obviously this will change later on when we go to Starforce maps, but I stay here until I'm actually the exact level of these mobs. I typically stay here until I'm level 35. Once I'm level 35, you can try it a little bit earlier if you want. Obviously, fine-tune this to how you feel best. But I go to Wild Boar Land next. This is no surprise. Wild Boar Land is a great map still. There's a ton of mobs here. So at level 35, I go here. I stay here for 10 levels, mainly because, guess what? Copper Drakes, of course, in the Silent Swamp are level 66. So, Copper Drakes are a classic map that we like to upgrade from Boars as soon as we can. Boars are great, but Copper Drakes are greater. The map is just super simple. It's 4 platforms with a portal, up, down, you know the drill. Silent Swamp is the place to be. Typically stay here for as long as you want. I stay here until 70, 75-ish range, I would say. And then I move on to some of the Ariant and Megatia maps. Most notably, I either go to Sahel 2, if I'm feeling like a Sahel kind of character, or I go to Area C2 in the lab, which is Roids. Roids is a very good map, especially on characters that have super good mobility horizontally. So classes that have like a rush skill, you just hold the rush skill down and just go back and forth, back and forth. For classes that aren't maybe as good as some others, I stay at Sahel 2. Either way, these maps are essentially the same thing. Roids are a bit higher level, so they give a bit more experience, but either way, you're not going to be staying here for too long because you get here at level 70, 75, depending on how strong your character is, and you're supporting Legion and Lynx. But at around level 80 to 85, this is going to be the big transition for us. We're going to be able to go to Leaf Ray maps, and this is important because maps above level 100 start to have burning. So honestly, we're going to take any of these maps that we can possibly function at, so like Dual Beetles, for example. Anything that has high burning, check Dual Beetles. Dual Beetles are fine. Check Rashes. Rashes are fine. Obviously, there's no burning here, but basically what we're looking for is we're just looking for the map with the highest burning. Dark Rashes, obviously a good option. I like this map a lot. There's a lot of spawn on this map. The map has gained a bit of popularity, though. Also, Dual Beetle map is still a decent one as well, though it is not as good. It ends up just being a couple platforms in sort of a left-right pattern. It's not the best amount of spawn per platform, but if you're able to clear quickly and you know, have decent horizontal range. Like, you can see the portal is, like, stacked on top of each other. So if you're able to hit everything, right, this map can be quite good. And it typically has pretty high burning because not many people like this map, but basically, we're just looking for high burning. This is going to take a little bit of time. I typically stay at any of these maps from like 80 to 85 until I'm 4th job. Reason being, 4th job typically gives you a lot of power, and that power is going to be very beneficial in us clearing Starforce maps. That's not to say that you can't go to Starforce monsters earlier, but for the majority of people who don't have a very built-out account, you may want to consider getting your 4th job advancement before going to the Starforce maps. But now that we're level 100, or you're a bit stronger and you go at like level 90 or whatever, we're only going to be training in Starforce maps. Starforce maps are basically the only map in the game that exists at this point because they just give significantly more experience. Now, we have a couple different options for Starforce maps. Obviously, the earliest Starforce map that you can go to is one of the Skynests. You have Skynest 2, you have Skynest 3, and then you have Valley of the Antelope 2. Valley of the Antelope is an interesting map in that it usually has max burning, and harps don't, because it seems like everybody goes to harps. So this map isn't the greatest, but if harps have literally no burning, you can check this map out first. Some people don't like the Kentaurus map either because they stun and the map is very spread out. I still really like the Kentaurus map, but either go to harps or go to the Valley of the Antelope 2. As you can see, there's no burning in this map. So these mobs are just quite literally giving half the experience that you could be getting in the other map. And it's basically the exact same thing. Obviously, the spawn and the map layout is a bit better here, but I don't think map layout makes up for the burning difference at this level, right? So you can stay here in any of these Leaf Ray Starforce maps for as long as you want, but I typically stay here until about level, I think it's about 112 for me is usually when I'll swap maps. But at a level 112, so anywhere from like 110 to 115, I'd say, we're going to be moving to the Clock Tower, the Ludibrium Clock Tower. And we're going to be going to Thanatos, or Thanatos, however you like to call them. At this point, you should just be Starforcing whatever gear that you found and picked up. If you designated a character as a 0 to 100 character, as it's one of the current events that are running, the growth events with New Age, then you will be given a full Frozen set at the completion of that, and you'll be at the level range to enter Starforce maps. So you just Starforce that gear, and you get straight into this part of the video. But that being said, you shouldn't have any, like, difficulties hitting these Starforce requirements yet. I will get into it when we get there, what you should do in order to hit Starforce requirements later on. Now, this map is very good. Obviously, it's just 2 giant platforms. You go left and right. This map is also doubly good because these mobs drop 130 gear, so you can get the 130 set in preparation for needing it for Starforce. So, stay here until you are either one of 2 things. You get a full 130 set, or you hit a high enough level to where you're able to go to our next map, which is going to be the Cave of Trials, which is going to be near Zakum. So I just usually type in Zakum, and then here is our next set of Starforce maps. I typically train in the Cave of Trials 3. Any of these maps work. You can start to hunt for different burning levels if you want, though here I typically stop worrying so much about burning, and I'm mostly here just to try to get my full Pencilier set, because at this point, if you don't get your full Pencilier set before you leave Banes, I've found the drop rate on the set to be quite sporadic and inconsistent. The Banes map, I like this Banes map specifically. As you can see, there's quite a few people messing around here. And by messing around, I mean I assume they're training to level up. Crazy, I know. But this map is very good. It's a giant map. There is a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into and drown. Help Step Bro, I'm stuck in the lava. It happens. There's a portal that takes you from one end of the map to the other. Obviously, you can see it is just pretty chill. I typically just flash jump from one end of the map to the other. I don't even bother with the portals typically when I'm training my characters. Get your full 140 set here before leaving. Typically, you will have picked up a rose earring or something from Bane's or Thanatos while training there. So your equips should look something like a full Pencilier set. You have like some rose earrings, and I mean, that's it, right? That's about as much equipment as you will probably have at that point. But that's enough Starforce to get you here without needing to do anything fancy. You don't have to join a guild. You don't have to have the Budding Sprout Starforce or anything like that. But going forward, we are going to be needing a lot more Starforce if we're pushing the characters past this point. This map can do you perfectly fine to go up to level 141, which is where I typically park my Legion characters. But if we are going to push them further, so 200 and whatnot, then we are going to be needing more Starforce. So let me hop onto another character and I'll explain how I get my Starforce. Okay, as promised, I'm on the character that I was leveling most recently. So I'm pushing this character, this Ho Young, up to level 200. So I hopped on it to better explain what I'm doing and how I do it. So at this point, there's a couple things you're going to need to do for the Starforce requirement. One, you are going to need to join a guild, because a guild gives you a free 25 Starforce with this guild skill right here. So definitely make sure you join a guild for the free 25 Starforce. Gives you some other benefits too, like monster damage, weapon attack, guild buffs, all that good stuff. But we care primarily about the Starforce. Another thing, if you have it, Budding Sprout title. Budding Sprout title gives you 30 Starforce. This is why I am heavily focusing on leveling my characters right now, because this is a time-limited title. And that 30 Starforce matters more now than it ever has before, because we got the change, and now Starforce maps are basically the only maps worth grinding in. And 30 Starforce is a lot of Starforce on a Legion character. Because let's take a look at my gear. It seems like a lot of my gear slots are filled out, which granted they are, but a lot of these things are things that are guaranteed. You can always just get. There's no luck involved. There's one item I have that is an RNG drop, and that is this Aquatic Letter I accessory. Now, let's say you get your character fresh level 141. You have your full Pencilier gear. So let's say this is our gear setup. So get rid of that. This. So this is what we look like. We just hit level 141. So we have our full Pencilier, we have our rose earrings or whatever, I have my red-hearted earrings, and then this is it. So this is the amount of Starforce we have. 25 from guild plus 30 from title, so 10 star everything. Obviously I have slightly starred mine a bit higher. You're gonna have to star your stuff a little bit higher when you hit level 160, 180, but I'll explain that when we get there. For the next map that we're going to be going to, we're going to be going to Kerning Square. Kerning Tower Square, whatever the fuck they call it these days. Kerning Tower. And more specifically, the map that I go to next is Espresso Machines. You need 80 Starforce for this map. So if you have just this year, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 65. If you join a guild, that's 25 more Starforce. So 65 plus 25, 90 Starforce plus the 30 from the Budding Sprout title. We're at 120 Starforce flat with just Pencilier in our red-hearted earrings. So we only need 80 here. So that lets us train here perfectly fine. So I typically get to a level around level 160, because level 160 to 165 is when I move to the next map. I stay here from level 141 to whenever I start to feel like it gets slow, and then I just work my way up the tower. All of these maps are decent enough, and I just go to whatever has the highest burning. I'll train here for like 10 levels, and then I'll like go up to like maybe Killer Cosmetics. If not Killer Cosmetics, I'll go to Perm Machines. You get the idea. I just follow the burning, and I switch maps when I get bored. Kerning Tower is very simple. You have your stack of Starforce maps here. Just go with the flow, really. But the point is, you stay here from level 141 to 165-ish at the latest. And our next destination is going to be a classic for some people. We're going to Second Drill Hall. Now, Second Drill Hall is not what we used to know and love. It is a much bigger map with platforms. But the benefit to this map specifically is it is 120 Starforce. So again, if you have the bare minimum stuff that I've already laid out, the Budding Sprout title, your full Pencilier with your earrings, and your guild Starforce bonus, you will have enough Starforce to be here already. So it's 120 zone, you'll have 125, you will be able to be here, no problem. So from here, you stay here until... you have two options from here, right? You can stay here until 180, which is something that I've done. You can also go to Luxury Saucers at some point if you get bored of Second Drill Hall and you feel like it gets a bit too slow. If I go to Luxury Saucers, I typically go around level 175, but staying here until 180 is perfectly fine. Luxury Saucers is also fine if you have the Starforce. Now, 180 unlocks the Twilight Perion 2-star nodes up here. So let's go to the first map, which is Swollen Stumps. Now, this map requires 160 Starforce. Let me put on the rest of my Starforce gear. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So how do we hit 160 Starforce from 125? So we have a couple different options, right? There are a couple Lightbulb quests that you can get at level 70. Have you learned about bonus potentials and... no, sorry, excuse me. It's have you learned about potentials and then have you learned about bonus stats? Those two quests from the Lightbulb, they're level 70 quests, I believe. Don't quote me on that. They're either level 70 or level 60 quests. Basically, just look for have you learned about potentials and have you learned about bonus stats in the Lightbulb. That gives you a Kerbrok shoulder accessory and Kerbrok's ring. The ring is just a ring. You can't star it, you can't potential it, but it gives you some stats. It is what it is. The shoulder accessory, however, it can be starred, can be potentialed. It's another 5 stars. We take the stars where we can. Especially if you run your bosses, which I'm going to get to in a moment, and you get nothing. So that's another 5 stars, so that brings us up to 130. Then you can always get a Treasure Hunter's John's ring from NLC at level 170, the questline unlocks. You go to NLC over here, I'll show you. Go to NLC. You talk to Icebird Slim. You follow his questline. You'll talk to Icebird Slim. You go to Lita Lawless. Lita Lawless will tell you to kill 200 purple mushrooms. You go back to her. She'll tell you to kill 200 slime. You go back to her, and then she'll tell you to kill 100 boomers. You go back to her. You get a coin. You go right over here to Spindle. You take your coin. You buy the Hunter John ring. Bing, bang, boom. You got your Starforce. Let me move back to our map that we're going to be looking to go to. But obviously you 10-star that, so that's another 10 Starforce. So that brings us up to 140 Starforce. So now we're missing 20 Starforce if we have the title, plus the guild, plus all our accessories. So we have a couple different things we can do. The biggest one is obvious at level 180. Run your bosses. If you haven't already ran them, I typically wait as long as I can. If the character is strong and I don't need the stats, I don't run the bosses until now. If I need the stats, I'll run the bosses much earlier. It's up to you. But I always run normal Zack, I run easy Magnus, I run normal Hilla, and I run either easy or normal Horntail depending on when I'm able to run the bosses, or when I run the bosses, rather. If you're able to get carries, obviously, get carried Chaos Horntail, why not? Get carried normal Mag, why not? But you're going to have to be able to do the 5% damage either way. Blah, 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 I'm sure you know. If you don't get any boss drops at all, that does suck, but you're still able to make it work, right? You're just going to need to 12-star some of your Pencilier and other equipment. So I got lucky on this character in that I got a singular boss drop accessory. I got 8 Starforce from this. If I did not have this, I would currently be missing 8 Starforce. And I still had to 12-star my fan. I 11-starred gloves, boots, cape, chest. Did not do it to the hat. So I'm missing 8 stars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of this gear is stuff that you can 100% of the time obtain. There's no RNG in getting any of this stuff. So if you 12-star everything, you 5-star earrings, you 5-star your shoulder, and you have the guild 25 and the budding sprout 30, you will just have enough with 12-star everything to hit 160 Starforce. Any boss accessories that you get, obviously it makes it cheaper and it makes you stronger, so recommended to get the boss accessories if possible. That being said, you move here at level 180. Around level 186, 7, I usually go to Pillaging Wild Boars, the map above it. You can really just move whenever, and then I stay here until level 200 or 199, and then I do the Haven quest, and then we're done. But that's the video. Hopefully you guys have found some use out of this. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.